This is the 8-9 Combo.
This is the 8-9 Combo. I'm Brett McKay. This is Harry Jones. And this is the Weekend Post-Mortem following another big Saturday of Ordinations tests and November tests and whatever else they're called. A couple of been interesting results. A very, very good game in London. A less than good game in Dublin, which we'll get onto in a minute. But it has been another feast of international rugby. How are you?
How's it, Brett? This is a bad weekend for rugby. Rugby fought itself in Turin, shrouded in bad decisions.
I see what you've done there.
Yeah. The Poms were on their Pom squad and pommed up the Kiwis, which is not fun for us to watch. We don't like that. And then finally, it was the worst loss by Australia to Ireland in history. So I put on my mega spectacles, my Stanley Tucci spectacles, my most famous follower, to try to find something good in all this. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm I know you're gonna come to me for a headline in a second, and I don't know. I have nothing positive. I mean, even though the Box won and they should have won and it was good and all that to get the experience to play with 13 men against all kinds, but it just felt like rugby wasn't even trying to make a spectacle there. And then various times on this weekend, I felt like we're not able to even celebrate tries sometimes because we just go, oh, but was it okay? Is
it going to stand?
Yeah.
What are we going back for? Yeah.
We got to do something better on that. And our friend Jeff Parks said something really wise, which is they've got to actually sit down and grapple with some of these ridiculousness. That is not to distract from the glory of the Irish win. They played really, really well.
No, of course. No, and not to take away from any English, to be honest. Yeah. I've got to say those glasses look so thick and they are so cloudy that I don't know how you're seeing anything right at this point in time.
I don't. I see nothing. These are my Turinesque, shrouded, medieval relic from the tomb.
Well, if you can then, could you, since you don't have to see to be able to say this, could you tell at least the lovely people why they should subscribe to the 8-9 Combo?
Because if
is it to buy you new glasses?
Subscribing, I could get better spectacles than this, whatever these dodgy things are. It's like I'm looking through.
That's fair.
Stained glass windows.
Looks like you're looking through the bottom of a drinking glass. The red subscribe button down there in the bottom corner. If you're watching on YouTube, is what you want. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, like, follow, subscribe, all of that business. Let's get straight to the headlines, mate, and then I think we'll work backwards through the games. I'm going to start this on a downer. Wallabies tour cannot end quicker.
Is that 5 words? Okay, I'll go with that. That's good. Yeah. Mine is this. England upsets rugby world order. There's been a tidy sort of grouping, the box number one, and then this clump of the French, the Irish, and the Kiwis. And then England's been nosing in there for a while, but hadn't separated itself completely from Australia, Scotland, Argentina. Yeah. I felt like today they took a big, giant chariot step with little loafers and their soft elbow patches and their cranberry chinos and their Lamborghinis and Ferraris and they upset it. They made us think again.
They overtook France in fourth in the last 2 weeks somewhere.
In real terms. Because rankings
today
go
they
up and
played
down
like a top 4 team.
Yeah. It looks like England is the best team in the Six Nations.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the French were kind of hanging on. I think they maybe have not done enough to reinvent. I think Borth Ball is starting to look very tidy and resilient. And it also looks like it can handle different styles. They're very confident now. They've got a lot of depth. They're back. Their front row they bring on the Palm squad is Ellis Genge, Lewis Cowan-Dickey, and Will Stewart. Lions.
3 Lions.
That is a winning recipe.
Lions. Yeah. It's a lovely luxury. It looks like they are comfortable within their skin. Is what it looks like. All right, let's work backwards and let's just rip the Band-Aid off this because this isn't going to be enjoyable at all. Ireland 46 have absolutely routed Australia 19 in Dublin. It was still 25-14 heading into the last 10 minutes. And look, if there's one positive for Australian rugby to take out of this, it's that a very, very good footballer scored 3 tries in the first half an hour.
A very good footballing Australian. Yeah. It was the Mac Hansen show. Slick handling, 7-0. Deja vu try, 14-0. And then a while later, a 50-22.
Identical.
Sustained 22 entry. And then the Mac trick. The Mac trick is one of the rarest things in rugby, 19-7. At 19-7, you did feel like there was maybe a hiding on offer, but then the Wallabies crawled back in. So I guess what I would say, my point is, on the before Oranges, I felt like this is playing out like a lot of other Irish-Australian tests, in that it's 19-14. There's McWright burrowing over. There's some passivity and tentativeness, but then there's long phased attacks.
Yeah,
Irish don't have any stoppers. They weren't shooting, so there was no dominant tackles. I felt like, okay, these teams, both these teams can score until the end, but then something happens.
Yes, and it was going to be a matter of, were the two ends at the same place?
Exactly.
So yeah, that was going to be interesting. I mentioned on our chat group at halftime that that Australia somehow had a slight edge in both possession and territory, and we're talking like 52-48. Like there was nothing in it, and the stat sheets were actually remarkably similar number of carries made, same sort of ground, same sort of time spent in attack, all that sort of stuff. The real difference at halftime was Australia had made 11 handling errors to 5 and 9 turnovers conceded to 3, and it only got worse from there.
And some of those came from what Jeff Parks calls the inability of Australia and New Zealand to handle the high ball. And it's so maddening because it's been going on for a whole season. It's at some point, it just was a bomb. And it was, 19-14, game still in the balance, 55 minutes. From that point on, it was bombs. It was spiral bombs. It was fade bombs. It was Munster bombs. It was it was James Lowe putting up something for Hansen to chase 30 meters away.
At one point, Mac Hansen put up a kick for himself to chase. Yeah,
and Hansen gets it, and literally, it's like everyone had said yours, and Mac said mine. And I felt like that was the turning point. From that point on, they just, no one has any interest in catching these. Let's just go cross kick for a try. Let's go spiral bomb. Max will not call it loud enough, or someone doesn't. There seemed to be a lot of,
all of the above.
Waiting for you.
Yeah. And conversely, the Australian kicking game was so bog ordinary that they may as well have, instead of actually kicking the ball, just walked to their nearest Irishman and went, "Here you go, have this."
I think that's right. In the end, 44 kicks to 24. That's not enough. If there's one thing that we've learned, if you only manufacture one line break, 6-to-1 line breaks, it comes not from keeping ball in hand into stacked defenses over and over. You're not going to make very many line breaks. You're going to make it from kicks that get fielded, and then someone's coming in pace. You've just got to understand that that's the quickest ball. I think something's gotten lost here where it has to be phases. Yes, the Wallabies look good in some of those phase tries, but it's just a difficult way to make a living on a sort of scrappy night with a sliding ball. And also, I think in the end, there were just these moments of inattention. I felt like maybe even the first 2 tries, sort of quick tap, the ball goes over someone's head and Max is scrambling. Just didn't seem like they were turned on enough for this night.
I reckon this moment sums it up for you. 65th minute, the Wallabies win a penalty. A line break gets called back. Bundy Aki was ruled offside. He was in front of whoever kicked the ball. Prendergast would have been. Never retreated. Clear offside penalty. No argument there. James O'Connor with his kick for the line just finds touch and could easily have kicked the ball dead in goal. Like, it was, the crowd was actually, you could hear the crowd booing. So there was sections of the crowd thought he'd kicked it. So they've ruled 5-meter line out. The line out throw is thrown over the top. The jump's missed. Ireland clean up at the back. They get back downfield. They scored. Caelan Doris scored his try 5 minutes later, and that's the start of the route.
Yeah, that's it.
That little moment summed up Australia's night. There's just the disappointing thing about it is that for all the talk of and I don't actually mean for all the talk from within the team, but the expectation was that players coming back into the team, James O'Connor's come off holidays, all that sort of stuff. The players might change, but the picture stayed the same. So the only thing that changed in this game for the Wallabies is that it was different players making the same mistakes.
Sure. And also if it was to be James O'Connor making the mistakes, there'd be a little less criticism than if it was Tane or someone else young.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We go, oh, well, that's James. But James really had kind of a stinker of a game, let's be honest.
Yeah, didn't have a great game at all.
I thought also that we have to say this, which is we were so eager for the Wallabies to make this comeback and feel good. We might be sort of painting over some cracks here because it's turning into not that good a season to hand over to Les Kiss because confidence is important for young men.
Yeah.
Habits of winning, how to stay in a fight. And so up till now, the Wallabies hadn't been beaten very badly this season. They lost some matches, but it wasn't like someone just toweled them up like in 2024. And I don't like this return of a record loss where it looked at times like Caelan Doris was having fun. And they were doing, out the backs and through the legs. It just, I hate doing this as well. I don't want to disrespect the Irish. The Caelan Doris would have deserved try. Ryan Baird, incredible.
Yes, absolutely,
magic,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just I completely agree with you. And it's just been. You'd say it's disappointing, but last week was disappointing.
Yeah, at the end, we look at some of the numbers: 6-3 tries. That it fairly reflected it. I think the turnover sort of lost plus minus was a 6 gap. It's actually rare in Test rugby to have one team have a +6 on turnovers, and then I think the ball 58%. It became oppressive that all the Wallabies were doing was clearing, exiting, holding Dan Sheehan up. It wasn't a way to get back in, It
wasn't a game plan.
Yeah.
You mentioned the handing over to Les Kiss now, and this, what this tour has done and confirmed for me is the absolute craziness that Les Kiss has spent time in Europe, sort of semi-detached from the Wallabies side, like over there observing, but not playing an active role. And I can't understand why he's not been. I can't understand why Australian rugby politics isn't such that they've gone, if we're going to try and make this a smooth transition, then let's just get him involved now. Let's get him involved in selections. This is going to be his squad that he inherits next year. It's worth him having input now. And the fact that hasn't happened makes no sense to me. And now we're going to get to July next year, and it's going to be a clean cut, and God knows what it's going to look like.
I know. It has all the makings of a proper train crash. Yeah. So let's go on to the other one.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's just move on really, really quickly. England 33, New Zealand 19 at Twickenham. This was a really good game, I've got to say. Really, really good contest. England deserving winners. I'm not sure the scoreline. I'm not sure 14 points reflects perhaps how tight it was, but which at the same time, I'm still trying to say England deserved the win and deserved to win well. So I don't know. I'm sort of contradicting myself there a bit, but I think you know what I mean.
I think so. Actually, in the end, I'm at peace with that score. I think that actually did reflect it in the end, and because rugby's end, that final 20 minutes seems to be worth more in scoring than the first 20. It's just it's like boxing, and the first 2 rounds, it's filling each other out. There's a point where a team has ascendancy built on its structure, its game plan, its depth. I felt like at the end that All Blacks had an army and a few boats. England had the artillery, the air force, intel, and a carrier. And it just had more ways to score quicker. New Zealand has been laboring under this. It needs a lot of time in the 22 to score. I mean, New Zealand does. New Zealand has a sort of not efficient scoring machine. We've talked about the stats in the rugby champ. Those don't lie. They don't make breaks enough. They seem to be just they're relying on individual brilliance. And I felt like England had much more of a real battalion coming at you. Ben Pollock off the bench. Some really good carries by Ollie. IFW, just really spark plugs. Whereas, for New Zealand was the same old suspects. Artie, can you do something? Please help us. And that's
I think
not
that's
enough.
I think that's well put. There was a definiteness about England and the way that Borthwick used his bench again, and the way he wanted impact at a certain point in the game to try and blow the last 20 minutes open, and it worked perfectly. It was a really, really good win for England.
There was also sort of a innate confidence in George Ford. I thought that the general on the field, Beauden Barrett, really didn't have it. When you combine Alex Mitchell, George Ford, and Marcus Smith together as 3 game managers, they just had it in spades over whatever the All Blacks were doing once Cam Roygaard went off. When Cam Roygaard went off, Raitama is not at the same stature of Alex Mitchell, getting to the ruck, spinning that ball, knowing where to go. And also, I think the 12-6 penalties against England speaks to the violence of their play. I didn't feel like the All Blacks came with violence today. I thought Twickenham was really happy today because people were getting absolutely mullered, and that's got to feel good.
Yeah. It was a complete the Cam Roygaard going off was a massive moment for New Zealand, and they lost their way after that. Not even Damien McKenzie coming on the last 20 minutes could spark things. That's how much of a difference and how important Roygaard is to them.
Yep.
But even in the first half, I thought it was interesting. To me, it felt like Will Jordan didn't really get a touch on the ball until maybe 20-25 minutes in. He wasn't at the back taking the backfield kicks. It was Beauden Barrett, and he was having a hard time of it. And Will Jordan just wasn't even in the frame for that. And I couldn't quite understand what all that was about. England would have seen, it's Barrett again. Let's just kick again. And it was, and George Ford was happy to do that. Their chase was excellent. They had good punch through midfield. Their breakdown work was exceptionally good, and their set piece held up. So it was just an all-round 80-minute performance that you've got to say from England.
Our friend Marty Devlin was talking to me. We're back and forth about it, and the part of him is happy because he likes to be proven right, and he'd been saying this is going to happen against England. Yeah. But his point is this, and I think it's well taken, and we were going back and forth around which players are better in the national setup than they are back at their club, Blues, Chiefs, Crusaders. And it's hard for me to think of a few. I mean, maybe Wallace Atiti, maybe Quinn Tupaia. Most of the other players are just the same or maybe not as effective. And I think that's a big worry because in other setups, whether it's Ireland, South Africa particularly, they actually take a step up. They grow a leg, an arm. Not the French. They actually go worse. And I'm starting to wonder about New Zealand and Razor and his ability to have really top-notch assistants around him. It feels like it's Razor, and then there's a huge gap in the org chart, and then a bunch of minions. I'm not, Jace Ryan's great, but there's not like Sean Edwards. There's not a, you know what I'm saying? Like, the scrum coach for Wallabies, Cron.
There's not a Paul O'Connell. It's a really good point. It's a really good point. And they've got Wales next week. So this is the
they'll have a good one. They'll have a good record at the end of the season on wins and losses, right? I mean, they'll have plenty. It's just on the very biggest stages to the teams they hate to lose the most to, they've lost the most to, and that's the problem.
That's more than fair. I think that's more than fair. I'm not. Excuse me. I'm not really sure what else there is to add in that. Though New Zealand were sort of surprisingly lacking in the last half an hour. When in the last half an hour, 20 minutes of games this year, particularly, they've been so good. We've spoken about how clinically they've closed out games this year, and they just did not. It's hard to do that when you're on the back foot, obviously. But
Russ Petty had a good step before the game about how against England they haven't, and so it's 5 matches in a row now that they've faded in the Q4. Which Charlie Morgan hates to say. And so we saw another one. And there's something about England that knows how to close out games nowadays. And that's actually what I'm saying is the difference between, if the top 5 teams, who is closing games out? South Africa, now England's doing it. And that's about it now. So
Ireland did it today, and we've probably not seen that from them
Yeah, they've had trouble with that right now, and All Blacks have their number. So I think we're having a little bit of separation now, where it feels like England's got a nose ahead, just a nose ahead of the All Blacks. To be continued. I'm sure that when they play next time, the All Blacks will have something to say about that.
So England have Argentina next week. Ireland play South Africa next week. France obviously have Australia as well. So there's some big games coming up there, which will be interesting, and which we'll talk about through the week, which will be interesting. Now, some other games this weekend. This is where I confess to you that I set the alarm in time for England and New Zealand, and then I went back to bed and banked a couple of hours in between games. So we're about to enter territory here for games that I don't think we've actually seen a lot of, but we know roughly what went on. So I'm trying to get the right starting point here, and I think I have it. No, that's France Fiji. So France Fiji was played at the same time as Ireland and Australia. I was sort of keeping an eye on scores of this, and I think France had it pretty well under control. I don't think there's any huge surprise in that result.
Yeah, it matches what I kind of predicted, but I haven't seen anything about
it. No, exactly right. So Wales 24 have beaten Japan 23. That's a last phase penalty goal to get the win for Wales. And a lot of the commentary that I've seen around it so far suggests that Wales were very, very, very lucky to get away with that, and Japan really should have claimed a first Northern Hemisphere scalp in a long time.
Yeah, I'm just happy for our friends, Hugh Griffin, Paul Williams, Sam Larner.
Yes, true.
Yeah, so good on you. They just need some good news right now, and I don't think Eddie needs any good news right now. So
no, that's it. And then earlier on tonight, South Africa 32 have beaten Italy 14. I think that was a result that everyone saw coming, but all the headlines is going to be around another ridiculous red card, isn't it? This one actually is a ridiculous red card, I should say.
It's much, much more than that. When you watch it, you're gonna marvel at how weird the match is. And it's weird from the beginning to the end by Dolman. Dolman has created a great Jackson Pollock rugby art. It is so bizarre. At times, he abdicates everything to TMO and players and crowd. Other times, he's very quick, too quick. It's just a grab bag of craziness. And what happens is, with the players off the field, they're not there. Eben Etzebeth, Damon Dialende, Jesse Creel, guys like Sasha, guys like Kubas, a whole panoply, Jasper Wiese. There wasn't this confidence once you had a card to Franco Mostert, and then another card, and you're down to 13 men. There wasn't this confidence of, is this actually going to happen or not? And as you say, yes, it happens. But the way it happens is very, very strange. And you can almost see the people in the crowd going, what am I watching here? Is this like a rodeo? Is this a clown show?
What is rodeo?
It doesn't seem like rugby. And so then at the end, the score was 32-14. Of course, it's normal. But watch it. It's funny.
So I want to highlight something for you. Our mate Jared Wright posted this stat, and it's actually come to him from a third party, and he said that since the introduction of the 20-minute red card, South Africa have now been given, that's this year, South Africa have now been given a straight red card 3 times.
Yeah.
Jasper Wiese against Italy earlier in the year, Lud de Jager last week against France, Franco Mostert in this game against Italy. Right. In 178 minutes combined in those matches, after being shown the red card, South Africa have conceded just 17 points and just 1 try, and they've won all 3 games.
The cards don't ruin matches. But the perception that it's weird is, South Africa was one of the lowest carded teams for, say, 7 years in a row. And then they instituted this middle ground orange thing. And strangely enough, you think, oh, well, that will be great because, it'll even exacerbate that. In fact, it's gone the other way. Things that look like, there are tackles gone wrong, but they're definitely not a punch, a gouge. There's nothing foul about them. We come to was his arm ever tucked. So therefore, the hit that's over here, not even involving the arm. And I just think we're getting too technical about that. I think referees should make a call on the field, stop being overwhelmed by a TMO that's interested in getting into the match too much. Yeah. Make sure the referee is the guy in charge.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's what happened here. He was ready to say, okay, that's probably a penalty, that may be a yellow card, because he's always low.
Yellow card threshold reached, off-field review, 20 minutes.
And then something happened in that interchange where the TMO sort of won the argument, and then he went, oh, okay, well, go ahead.
And that doesn't make sense.
I don't like it.
Yeah. I reckon we've covered it all.
Anything else
that we need to know there? I think we have post-mortemed there. There are some interesting games coming up next weekend. We will certainly get into those through the week. But I think we can put a pin in that. We'll call that the weekend post-mortem.
Let's drive a stake in that and forget that Irish game.
Fans.
Put it. Don't ruminate.
Oh God! Look. Here's a positive for you, mate. You don't have to try and write 1,500 words about it, which I'm going to have to do over the next couple of days. But anyway, you can tell us what you think by following Harry and I on the socials. You can find the 8-9 on the socials as well. Have your say on the YouTube channel here. Either way, let us know what you think from any of the games that you've watched. Tell us why South Africa, Italy was weird. Tell us how unlucky Japan was to lose that game. We'd love to hear from you. Shares, ratings, reviews, all of that. We'd love to hear it. This is the 8-9 combo, the short side set piece combination you didn't realize you needed in a rugby podcast. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones, and we will be back in your ears this week when Rian Lowe joins us for another great rugby chat.
Come play with us.
Here goes Jones with another bruising run. He links up with McKay, who pops back to Jones. They can't. They won't. They will. What a try. The Dream Team combo go in again.